Oh God, I can still feel the cold sweat on my palms that night. I was 22, standing in the dim light of my childhood bedroom, clutching a faded envelope I'd found hidden in my mother's old jewelry box. My heart pounded like a war drum as I tore it open, expecting maybe some old love letter from Dad. But no, the words inside screamed at me. "She's not yours. We switched them at birth to protect our family." Switched? Me? My whole life flashed before my eyes. Every hug, every "I love you," every family dinner, all built on a lie. Who was I really? And why had they kept this from me? I collapsed onto the bed, sobbing silently so no one would hear, my world crumbling like sand through my fingers. But let me take you back, because to understand the pain, you need to know the joy that came before it all fell apart. I grew up in a cozy suburb outside Chicago, the kind of place where neighbors wave and kids ride bikes until sunset. My name's Elena, or at least that's what they've always called me. Mom, Dad, and my older brother Alex were my everything. Dad was the rock, a quiet engineer who built model trains in the garage and taught me how to fix a bike chain when I was 5. "You're my little mechanic, Ellie," he'd say, his eyes twinkling with pride. Mom was the heart, a school teacher with a laugh that could light up a room. She'd bake apple pies on Sundays, filling the house with cinnamon and warmth, and tuck me in with stories of faraway lands. Alex, 3 years older, was my protector, chasing away bullies, sharing his comic books, and sneaking me ice cream when I was grounded. We were the perfect family. Or so I thought. Holidays were magical. Christmas trees overloaded with ornaments we'd made together, Thanksgiving feasts where we'd go around the table saying what we were grateful for. I always said, "my family," and meant it with every fiber of my being. But even in those golden days, there were cracks I didn't see. Mom would sometimes stare out the window with a distant look, like she was lost in a memory she couldn't share. Dad worked late more often than not, coming home with shadows under his eyes. Alex and I would whisper about it, but we'd brush it off, right? We don't want to shatter the illusion. School was my escape and my triumph. I was the straight-A student, captain of the debate team, always pushing to make them proud. "You're going places, Ellie," Mom would say, hugging me tight after every report card. But deep down, I felt this nagging emptiness, like I didn't quite fit. My features were darker than theirs. Olive skin against their fair complexions, curly hair versus straight. They'd joke I took after a distant aunt, and I'd laugh it off. Oh, how I wish I'd questioned it sooner. As I hit my teens, the family dynamics shifted subtly. Alex started pulling away, getting into fights at school, hanging with the wrong crowd. Mom and Dad argued more, hushed voices behind closed doors about money, about secrets. One night, I overheard Mom say, "We can't keep lying to her forever." Dad replied, "It's for her own good." I froze outside their door, heart racing, but convinced myself it was about Alex's troubles. How naive I was. Then came my high school sweetheart, Jake. He was charming, with that boyish grin and dreams of becoming a musician. We met at a school dance, and it was instant fireworks. "You're the most real person I've ever met," he'd whisper during our late-night talks. For the first time, I felt seen, truly seen. We'd sneak out to the lake, stargaze, and plan our future. College together, a little house with a picket fence. Jake became my anchor when home felt unsteady. But cracks turned to fissures when Alex dropped out of college after one semester. He came home defeated, admitting he'd been experimenting with drugs. The family rallied, therapy sessions, tough love, but it strained us all. Mom withdrew into herself, baking less, smiling less. Dad buried himself in work. I threw myself into my studies, graduating valedictorian, determined to be the glue holding us together. "We'll get through this," I'd tell them at dinner, forcing optimism. Little did I know, the real storm was brewing, beneath the surface. A secret so explosive, it would tear us apart. That envelope I found, it was just the beginning. As I sat there that night, rereading those damning words, a rage built inside me like a tidal wave. How could they? I had to confront them. But what if the truth destroyed everything I loved? The next morning, I woke up with puffy eyes and a resolve like steel. I couldn't pretend anymore. Breakfast was tense. Mom hummed tunelessly while flipping pancakes. Dad buried in his newspaper. Alex nursing a coffee hangover. I slammed the envelope on the table. "What is this?" My voice cracked, but I held their gazes. Silence stretched like a rubber band about to snap. Mom's face strained of color. She dropped the spatula. "Ellie, honey, where did you find that?" Dad whispered, his voice trembling. "In your jewelry box, Mom. Care to explain why it says I was switched at birth?" Alex choked on his coffee, eyes wide. What the hell? The room erupted. Mom burst into tears, collapsing into a chair. "It was an accident. No, a choice. Your biological parents, they were in trouble." Dad reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "We did it to save you, Ellie, from a life of chaos." Flashback to the hospital, they said. It was 2003, a stormy night in the maternity ward. Mom had just given birth to a stillborn baby girl, their real daughter, lost before she took her first breath. Devastated, they wandered the halls in grief. That's when they met Maria and Carlos, a young couple from the wrong side of town, fleeing gang violence. Their newborn, me, looked so much like what their lost child might have. In a moment of desperation, Maria begged them, "Take her. Give her a better life. We're marked. They'll come for us." Papers were forged hastily, a nurse paid off. Mom and Dad walked out with me, naming me Elena after their grandmother. "We loved you from the first moment," Mom sobbed. But the words felt hollow. Betrayal burned in my chest. "You lied to me my whole life. I'm not even yours." Alex stared at me like a stranger. "So, you're not my sister?" The pain in his voice gutted me. I stormed out, grabbing my keys, driving aimlessly through rain-slicked streets. Memories flooded, family vacations to the Grand Canyon, where Dad carried me on his shoulders, Mom teaching me to read under a blanket fort, Alex defending me from a mean girl in middle school. Were those real, or just a facade? I ended up at Jake's apartment, collapsing into his arms. "They stole me, Jake. I'm not who I thought." He held me as I cried, stroking my hair. "You're still you, Ellie, and I love you." For a while, his words soothed the ache. We talked all night about identity, family, forgiveness. But doubt crept in. If my parents could lie so easily, what else were they hiding? Jake urged me to give them time, but anger festered. Back home that evening, the house was eerily quiet. Mom had left a note. "We need space. I'm staying with Aunt Linda." Dad sat alone in the living room, head in hands. "I never regretted it, Ellie. You were our miracle." His vulnerability pierced me, but I couldn't forgive yet. "Miracle built on theft," I spat, retreating to my room. Days blurred into a haze of isolation. I skipped classes, ignored texts from friends. Alex called, his voice raw. "Ellie, come home. We miss you." I miss my sister. But was I his sister? The question haunted me. Then a knock at Jake's door. A stranger. A woman with my eyes, my curls. "Elena, I'm Maria, your real mother." My heart stopped. How had she found me? She explained, whispers from the old nurse, now on her deathbed, confessing the switch. Maria had searched for years, hoping I was safe. "I gave you up to protect you from my husband's enemies, but I've never stopped loving you." Tears streamed down her face. I let her in, tentatively, as Jake watched warily. She told stories of my biological father, Carlos, killed in a drive-by when I was 2 months old, the reason for the desperate handoff. "You have his spirit, mija, brave, kind." For the first time, pieces fit. My love for spicy food, my rhythmic dancing, traits that never matched my family. But joy mixed with turmoil. Meeting Maria opened a door to a heritage I'd never known.
Mexican roots, tales of abuelas tamales, festivals with marigolds, yet it deepened the rift at home. When I told Dad about her, his face hardened. "She's dangerous, Ellie. Stay away." Mom returned begging forgiveness, but arguments escalated. "You stole her," Maria accused in a heated phone call I overheard. Loneliness gripped me, torn between two worlds, belonging to neither. Jake tried to bridge it, planning a neutral dinner, but tensions boiled. As Maria shared photos of my bio siblings, two brothers I'd never met, envy and regret twisted inside. Why didn't I have that life? Or was this one a gift? The questions kept me up nights, whispering doubts. And just when I thought I could navigate this, Alex dropped a bomb. "Ellie, there's more. Mom's been hiding something else about Dad." His words hung like a noose, pulling me deeper into the abyss. Alex's revelation hit like a freight train. We met at our old park bench, the one where we'd carve our initials as kids. His hands shook as he lit a cigarette, a habit he'd picked up in his dark days. "Ellie, Dad, he's not who we think. Mom told me last night in tears he's been having an affair. For years." My world tilted again. "What? No, that can't be." But Alex's eyes, red-rimmed, told the truth. With his secretary, Karen. Started when we were teens. Mom found out but stayed for us. Rage surged. First the switch, now this? Dad, my hero, a cheater? I drove home furious, confronting him in the garage amid his model trains. "How could you betray us?" He crumpled, admitting it. "I was lost after the stillbirth." Karen listened. "But I love your mom, Ellie. I ended it years ago." Lies upon lies. Mom walked in, overhearing, and the fight exploded, accusations flying like shrapnel. I fled to Maria's tiny apartment downtown, seeking solace. She welcomed me with open arms, cooking pozole that warmed my soul. "Families are messy, mija, but blood calls." Her stories painted a vivid picture. Carlos, a mechanic with dreams of owning a shop, gunned down for refusing gang protection money. My brothers, Raul and Diego, now in their 20s, working construction, fierce and loyal. "They want to meet you," she said softly. Excitement mingled with fear. What if they resented me for the better life? Jake came over, supportive but cautious. "This is a lot, Ellie. Don't rush." We made love that night, his touch a lifeline in the chaos. But doubts about us crept in. Was I pulling him into my mess? Back with my family, therapy sessions began. Awkward, tear-filled hours where truths spilled. Mom confessed her guilt over the switch. I couldn't bear losing another child. Dad apologized profusely, vowing to rebuild. Alex, caught in the middle, turned to me. "You're still my sister, blood or not." His hug cracked my armor, but forgiveness felt distant. Then, a betrayal that cut deepest. I confided in a close friend, Sarah, about the switch. Days later, whispers at college, stares, pitying looks. Sarah had gossiped. "I thought it was juicy," she admitted when confronted. Friendship shattered, loneliness deepened. I withdrew, journaling my turmoil. Regrets over not noticing signs, anger at the lies, yearning for wholeness. Maria introduced me to Raul and Diego over a backyard barbecue. They were rough around the edges, tattoos, loud laughs, but their embrace felt genuine. "Little sis," Raul teased, ruffling my hair. Diego shared photos of Carlos. "You have his smile." For hours we talked, their hardships, foster care stints after Maria's depression. Envy faded, gratitude bloomed for my stable upbringing. But divided loyalties tore at me. When Mom called, hysterical, "Don't abandon us for them," guilt gnawed. Jake noticed my distance. "Ellie, talk to me." I snapped. "You don't get it." Our first big fight. Words like daggers. He stormed out, leaving me alone with echoes of regret. Secrets unraveled further. Maria revealed she had a letter from the nurse, detailing the switch, proof that could upend lives legally. "We could sue," she suggested tentatively. Temptation flickered. Justice for the deception? But it would destroy Mom and Dad. I confided in Alex, who begged, "Don't, we're family." Torn, I sought solitude at the lake where Jake and I used to dream. Memories flooded. His proposal last year, a simple ring under stars. "Marry me, Ellie, we'll face anything." I'd said yes, joy overflowing. Now uncertainty loomed. As dusk fell, my phone buzzed. "Jake, we need to talk." Dread filled me. Was this the end? But his voice was soft. "I love you through this mess." Relief washed over, yet the family war raged on. And then the unthinkable. Dad had a heart attack, rushed to the hospital. Blame swirled. Stress from the secrets? I raced there praying, only to find Maria waiting too. I heard, "For you, mija." Worlds colliding, emotions raw. Would this break us forever?
Dad's hospital room smelled of antiseptic and fear. Monitors beeped steadily as he lay pale, tubes snaking from his arms. Mom clutched his hand, eyes swollen. Alex paced, fists clenched. I entered hesitantly, Maria lingering in the hall. "Ellie," Dad whispered, weak but warm. "I'm sorry for everything." Tears choked me. "Just get better, Dad." The doctor pulled us aside, stress-induced, but he'd recover with rest. Relief mingled with accusation. Mom glared at me. "This is because of the drama you stirred." Hurt flared. "Me? You started it with the lies." Alex mediated. "Stop. We're here for him." But the air crackled with unspoken betrayals. Maria stepped in, offering a tentative olive branch. "I'm not here to take her, just to support." Mom's face twisted in pain. "You already did, years ago." The confrontation simmered, but Dad's plea halted it. "Enough secrets, let's heal." Post-discharge, family dinners resumed, awkward but honest. We shared stories. Mom's grief over the stillborn, Dad's loneliness leading to the affair. Vulnerability bridged gaps. I opened up about my identity crisis. "I feel like a puzzle with missing pieces." Alex admitted his drug phase stemmed from sensing family tension. I knew something was off. Bonds mended slowly, thread by thread. With Maria's family, integration deepened. Joint holidays tentative at first, Thanksgiving with tamales and turkey. Raul and Diego charmed Alex with soccer games. Mom warmed to Maria's resilience. "We both lost so much," Mom said one night over wine. Forgiveness budded. Jake proposed again, properly this time, on our lake spot. Through storms, Ellie. Our wedding planning became a unifier. Invites to both families. But shadows lingered. Sarah's betrayal left me wary of friends. I rebuilt cautiously, focusing on true allies. Regrets haunted dreams. Why hadn't I seen Dad's pain, Mom's sacrifices, Maria's sacrifice? Loneliness from isolation taught me connection's value. Therapy helped unpack it all, misunderstandings rooted in fear. One session, Dad confessed, "I feared losing you if you knew." Tears flowed, hugs followed. Climax neared when legal papers surfaced. The nurse's full confession naming accomplices. Maria urged action, foreclosure. But I chose mercy. No lawsuits. We've heard enough. Burning the papers symbolized release. Yet betrayal struck again. Alex, in a moment of weakness, relapsed, stealing from Dad's safe for drugs. Discovered, he fled ashamed. "I'm sorry, sis. I'm broken." Heartbroken, I searched bars and alleys, finding him huddled in the rain. "You're not broken. You're family." Rehab followed, our support unwavering. Jake stood by, his patience a rock. As Alex recovered, unity strengthened. The wedding day dawned sunny, vows exchanged with both mothers walking me down the aisle. "I do," I said, tears of joy. Reception toasts celebrated blended families, to new beginnings. But life lessons etched deep. Secrets erode like acid. Truth, though painful, heals. Regret teaches growth. Betrayal tests loyalty. I look back, heart full, from shattered illusions to forged bonds. If you're hiding truths, speak them. Family isn't blood, it's choice, love, forgiveness. And as I hold my newborn daughter years later, I whisper, "You'll always know your story." But wait, that's jumping ahead. Back then, as confetti fell, a final twist loomed. A letter from an unknown sender, claiming more secrets.
Would it unravel us again?
The letter arrived on our honeymoon. A plain envelope slipped under the hotel door in Hawaii. Jake and I were basking in newlywed bliss, toes in sand when I opened it. Elena, there's more to the switch. Your bio father isn't dead. Call this number. My hands trembled. Jake's face fell. Ellie, don't. It's a scam. But curiosity burned. Back home, I dialed secretly. A gruff voice answered. Elena, it's Carlos. I faked my death to escape the gangs. Shock froze me. Maria had lied or been deceived. Confronting her, tears spilled. I thought he was gone. He left to protect us. Carlos wanted to meet, remorseful, reformed, living in hiding. Emotions whirlwind. Joy at a father alive. Betrayal by omission. Why now? I demanded, over coffee in a dingy cafe. His eyes, mirrors of mine, filled with regret. I heard about the reunion. I couldn't stay away. Stories poured, underground life, watching from afar. You were my light in the dark. But trust fractured, another layer of deceit. Mom and Dad reacted with fury. He's dangerous. Alex, fresh from rehab, cautioned. Don't let him drag you down. Jake worried. This could destroy what we've built. Integration tentative. Carlos met Raul and Diego first, tearful reunions. Then me, awkward hugs. He shared mementos, a locket with my baby photo. I never stopped loving. But shadows. Gang ties lingered. Whispers of debts. Loneliness returned. Who to believe? Therapy delved deeper. Patterns of secrecy in both families. Break the cycle, the counselor urged. I confided in Jake late nights. I feel adrift. His embrace grounded me. We're your anchor. Drama escalated when Carlos asked for money to settle old scores. Refusal led to threats, veiled. Fear gripped. Was he using me? Maria defended. He's changed. But evidence mounted. Shady calls overheard. Betrayal stung anew. Confrontation in a park. You're not my father. You're a ghost. He left broken, vanishing again. Relief mixed with sorrow. Lost chance at wholeness. Family rallied. Blended barbecues, honest talks. Mom and Maria bonded over shared motherhood pains. Dad mentored Raul in mechanics. Alex thrived, starting a business. Jake and I dreamed of kids, vowing transparency. Regrets faded into lessons. Question everything, but hold love tight. Misunderstandings breed monsters. Pregnancy brought a fragile, tentative dawn to our lives, a soft glow piercing through the lingering shadows of chaos. But an undercurrent of terror shadowed every joyful moment, lurking like a predator in the underbrush. The ultrasounds revealed a strong, fluttering heartbeat, tiny and miraculous, echoing through the dim exam room as the technician smiled and said, "Everything looks perfect." Yet nightmares plagued my sleep. Vivid horrors of Carlos bursting through doors to steal my unborn child, just as I'd been stolen in that fateful hospital switch, his ghostly face twisted in desperate greed. Jake transformed into an unyielding fortress around me, his once laid-back musician vibe hardening into vigilance. He baby-proofed the house months ahead of schedule, installing locks on cabinets and gates at stairs, and took to night watches, pacing the hallway with a baseball bat in hand, eyes scanning shadows. "No one touches our family, Ellie. Not now, not ever," he vowed fiercely one midnight, his jaw set, voice low and protective, pulling me close in our bed as thunder rumbled outside. The blended clan united in a beautiful tapestry of support, Maria knitting delicate booties with colorful yarns, her fingers flying needles in rhythmic patterns as she shared stories of her own pregnancies. Mom meticulously planning the nursery, sketching layouts on graph paper and debating paint colors late into the night. My brothers Raul and Diego rolling up sleeves to build a sturdy crib from oak wood in the garage, sawdust flying as they bantered and bonded. Alex, ever the joker, grinned during a family barbecue and declared, "Uncle Duty starts now. I've got the cool gifts covered," his eyes sparkling with redemption from his past struggles. Joy flickered tentatively, like candlelight in a drafty room.
warming our hearts, but deep regrets loomed large, casting long shadows. What story would we tell this precious baby when they asked about their roots? The full, unvarnished truth of switches and secrets, or a sanitized fairy tale to shield them from pain? The echo of betrayal reverberated through our mail slot one rainy afternoon, an anonymous envelope containing chilling threats scrawled in block letters. Pay up the old debts, or the kid pays the price. Was it Carlos's lingering gang remnants? Vengeful ghosts from a violent past refusing to stay buried? Fear paralyzed me instantly, a cold vice gripping my chest, making every breath labored. We packed hastily and moved to a nondescript safe house on the city's outskirts, its bland walls closing in like a cage. Loneliness intensified to a suffocating degree. I craved the normalcy of prenatal classes and baby showers, but isolation became our armor, days blurring into vigilant routines of locked doors and whispered check-ins. Jake sacrificed his budding music gigs to stay home full-time, his guitar gathering dust in the corner, strain etching worry lines on his forehead, and sparking heated arguments in the dim kitchen light. "You're shutting me out, Ellie. Building walls I can't climb," he'd yell, frustration boiling over as he slammed a cabinet. I'd collapse into tears, hormones raging. I'm terrified we'll lose everything we fought for. The baby, us, our peace. Our couples therapy sessions became lifelines, held via video in the safe house's cramped living room, where the counselor urged gently, communicate the fear head-on, let it out before it festers. Vulnerability poured out in those hours, Jake admitting his own terror of fatherhood amid threats, me confessing abandonment fears for my switched identity, and it mended the rifts, deepening our love like roots intertwining in fertile soil. Family drama escalated to a boiling point during a tense dinner at the safe house, steam rising from Maria's homemade enchiladas as Dad cleared his throat, face ashen. There's another secret. I knew Carlos was alive years ago. I paid him off anonymously to stay away forever, to protect you from his world. Fury exploded within me like a volcano, hot and unstoppable. More lies? How many layers of deception, Dad? You played God with my life. Mom jumped to her defense, tears streaming. We thought it was over, buried for good. We stayed silent to spare you pain. Maria, overhearing from the doorway, her face crumpling, revealed she'd unknowingly accepted Dad's hush money through a middleman, thinking it aid from charity. Alliances fractured in that moment. Accusations flew like arrows across the table. "Thieves and enablers, all of you," I screamed, chair scraping back as I stormed to the bedroom. Alex, the steady mediator, raised his hands. "Enough! The baby's coming soon. We can't tear apart now." A fragile truce formed for the ultrasound party, a small gathering under twinkling lights in the safe house yard, cheers and cake masking the undercurrents of pain, everyone toasting to the grainy image of our growing miracle. Misunderstandings began to unravel in intimate heart-to-heart walks by the nearby lake, the water lapping gently as Mom linked arms with me one crisp evening. "I was stolen too, Ellie. Stolen by grief that night in the hospital," she whispered, voice trembling. She revealed her stillborn daughter's name for the first time. Lily, a tiny life lost to complications, the void that led to the desperate switch. Our tears merged on the shore, salt mingling with lake mist. Forgiveness bloomed like wildflowers after rain, tentative but real. Raul opened up over beers one night, rolling up his sleeve to show faded gang scars. Carlos chose the streets over us long before the switch. He was never the hero Maria painted. Empathy washed away my lingering envy, replaced with gratitude for the patchwork family I'd forged. But the climax built relentlessly. Threats evolved from paper to physical menace. Our car tires slashed in the safe house driveway. Ominous notes taped to the door reading, "We see you." Police swarmed, lights flashing blue and red, but leads evaporated like smoke. Paranoia peaked one stormy night when a brick crashed through the living room window, shattering glass and my nerves. Contractions hit hard and early, pain ripping through me like lightning. The hospital rush was a blur, Jake white-knuckling the wheel, family trailing in cars, as I gripped the dashboard, breathing through the agony. In the delivery room, sweat-soaked and screaming, Jake held my hand. "Breathe, Ellie. You're a warrior." Our baby girl arrived with a lusty cry that pierced the chaos, named Lily Maria, honoring the lost sister and the biological mother who gave me life. As I held her tiny, warm body to my chest, the world narrowed to her heartbeat against mine. Resolution whispered softly in Lily's tiny, grasping fist around my finger, a promise of new beginnings amid the ruins. The threats mysteriously ceased soon after. Word came that Carlos had been implicated in a larger gang bust and imprisoned for life, his shadows locked away. The family encircled her crib in the nursery we'd finally returned home to build, making solemn vows of radical honesty under the mobile of stars. No more shadows, no more half-truths, Dad promised, his voice thick with emotion, eyes meeting mine for the first time without evasion. But as I nursed her in the quiet hours of dawn, an unexpected call pierced the peace. From the prison, Carlos's lawyer stating he sought forgiveness, a final meeting. Dare I face the man who haunted our origins? The cycle of secrets tempted once more. Would granting him closure set us truly free, or chain us eternally to the past ghosts?
Part 7. Pregnancy brought a fragile, tentative dawn to our lives, a soft glow piercing through the lingering shadows of chaos, but an undercurrent of terror shadowed every joyful moment, lurking like a predator in the underbrush. The ultrasounds revealed a strong, fluttering heartbeat, tiny and miraculous, echoing through the dim exam room as the technician smiled and said, "Everything looks perfect." Yet nightmares plagued my sleep, vivid horrors of Carlos bursting through doors to steal my unborn child, just as I'd been stolen in that fateful hospital switch, his ghostly face twisted in desperate greed. Jake transformed into an unyielding fortress around me, his once laid-back musician vibe hardening into vigilance. He baby-proofed the house months ahead of schedule, installing locks on cabinets and gates at stairs, and took to night watches, pacing the hallway with a baseball bat in hand, eyes scanning shadows. "No one touches our family, Ellie. Not now, not ever," he vowed fiercely one midnight, his jaw set, voice low and protective, pulling me close in our bed as thunder rumbled outside. The blended clan united in a beautiful tapestry of support, Maria knitting delicate booties with colorful yarns, her fingers flying needles in rhythmic patterns as she shared stories of her own pregnancies. Mom meticulously planning the nursery, sketching layouts on graph paper, and debating paint colors late into the night. My brothers Raul and Diego rolling up sleeves to build a sturdy crib from oak wood in the garage, sawdust flying as they bantered and bonded. Alex, ever the joker, grinned during a family barbecue and declared, "Uncle Duty starts now. I've got the cool gifts covered," his eyes sparkling with redemption from his past struggles. Joy flickered tentatively, like candlelight in a drafty room, warming our hearts, but deep regrets loomed large, casting long shadows. What story would we tell this precious baby when they asked about their roots? The full, unvarnished truth of switches and secrets? Or a sanitized fairy tale to shield them from pain? The echo of betrayal reverberated through our mail slot one rainy afternoon, an anonymous envelope containing chilling threats scrawled in block letters. "Pay up the old debts or the kid pays the price." Was it Carlos's lingering gang remnants, vengeful ghosts from a violent past refusing to stay buried? Fear paralyzed me instantly, a cold vice gripping my chest, making every breath labored. We packed hastily and moved to a nondescript safe house on the city's outskirts, its bland walls closing in like a cage. Loneliness intensified to a suffocating degree. I craved the normalcy of prenatal classes and baby showers, but isolation became our armor, days blurring into vigilant routines of locked doors and whispered check-ins. Jake sacrificed his budding music gigs to stay home full-time, his guitar gathering dust in the corner, strain etching worry lines on his forehead, and sparking heated arguments in the dim kitchen light. "You're shutting me out, Ellie, building walls I can't climb," he'd yell, frustration boiling over as he slammed a cabinet. I'd collapse into tears, hormones raging. "I'm terrified we'll lose everything we fought for, the baby, us, our peace." Our couples therapy sessions became lifelines, held via video in the safe house's cramped living room, where the counselor urged gently, "Communicate the fear head-on, let it out before it festers." Vulnerability poured out in those hours,
Jake admitting his own terror of fatherhood amid threats, me confessing abandonment fears from my switched identity, and it mended the rifts, deepening our love like roots intertwining in fertile soil. Family drama escalated to a boiling point during a tense dinner at the safe house, steam rising from Maria's homemade enchiladas as Dad cleared his throat, face ashen. "There's another secret. I knew Carlos was alive years ago," he confessed, voice breaking like fragile glass. "I paid him off anonymously to stay away forever to protect you from his world." Fury exploded within me like a volcano, hot and unstoppable. "More lies? How many layers of deception, Dad? You played God with my life." Mom jumped to his defense, tears streaming. "We thought it was over, buried for good. We stayed silent to spare you pain." Maria, overhearing from the doorway, her face crumpling, revealed she'd unknowingly accepted Dad's hush money through a middleman, thinking it aid from charity. Alliances fractured in that moment. Accusations flew like arrows across the table. "Thieves and enablers, all of you!" I screamed, chair scraping back as I stormed to the bedroom. Alex, the study mediator, raised his hands. "Enough! The baby's coming soon. We can't tear apart now." A fragile truce formed for the ultrasound party, a small gathering under twinkling lights in the safe house yard, cheers and cake masking the undercurrents of pain, everyone toasting to the grainy image of our growing miracle. Misunderstandings began to unravel in intimate heart-to-heart walks by the nearby lake, the water lapping gently as Mom linked arms with me one crisp evening. "I was stolen too, Ellie, stolen by grief that night in the hospital," she whispered, voice trembling. She revealed her stillborn daughter's name for the first time, Lily, a tiny life lost to complications, the void that led to the desperate switch. Our tears merged on the shore, salt mingling with lake mist. Forgiveness bloomed like wildflowers after rain, tentative but real. Raul opened up over beers one night, rolling up his sleeve to show faded gang scars. Carlos chose the streets over us long before the switch. He was never the hero Maria painted. Empathy washed away my lingering envy, replaced with gratitude for the patchwork family I'd forged. But the climax built relentlessly. Threats evolved from paper to physical menace. Our car tires slashed in the safe house driveway, ominous notes taped to the door reading, "We see you." Police swarmed, lights flashing blue and red, but leads evaporated like smoke. Paranoia peaked one stormy night when a brick crashed through the living room window, shattering glass and my nerves. Contractions hit hard and early, pain ripping through me like lightning. The hospital rush was a blur, Jake white-knuckling the wheel, family trailing in cars as I gripped the dashboard, breathing through the agony. In the delivery room, sweat-soaked and screaming, Jake held my hand. "Breathe, Ellie, you're a warrior." Our baby girl arrived with a lusty cry that pierced the chaos, named Lily Maria, honoring the lost sister and the biological mother who gave me life. As I held her tiny, warm body to my chest, the world narrowed to her heartbeat against mine. Resolution whispered softly in Lily's tiny, grasping fist around my finger, a promise of new beginnings amid the ruins. The threats mysteriously ceased soon after. Word came that Carlos had been implicated in a larger gang bust and imprisoned for life, his shadows locked away. The family encircled her crib in the nursery we'd finally returned home to build, making solemn vows of radical honesty under the mobile of stars. "No more shadows, no more half-truths," Dad promised, his voice thick with emotion, eyes meeting mine for the first time without evasion. But as I nursed her in the quiet hours of dawn, an unexpected call pierced the peace. From the prison, Carlos's lawyer stating he sought forgiveness, a final meeting. Dare I face the man who haunted my origins? The cycle of secrets tempted once more. Would granting him closure set us truly free, or chain us eternally to the past's ghosts?
The DNA match struck like a bolt of lightning from a clear sky. A 25-year-old half-brother named Javier, linked through Carlos's earlier fling before Maria, his message popping up on my Ancestry app. He never knew about me,
but I felt incomplete my whole life. Is this real? Shock rippled through our home like aftershocks, conversations halting mid-sentence. Another hidden branch on the fractured family tree? Maria confirmed quietly over tea, her hands wringing a dishcloth. Before me, yes, a youthful mistake Carlos buried deep. Curiosity overrode my battle-worn caution. We arranged to meet in a bustling cafe downtown, neutral ground amid clinking cups and chatter. Javier arrived with my wild curls tamed into a ponytail, an artist with paint-stained fingers and soulful eyes, hugging me tentatively at first, then fiercely. I always sensed a missing piece. Now I see it's you. His stories synced hauntingly with mine. Abandoned young by his mother after Carlos vanished, bouncing through foster homes with cold bureaucracy and fleeting attachments, channeling pain into canvases of swirling colors and raw emotion. Joy sparked instantly, fragile but bright. We dove into shared art sessions in his cluttered studio, brushes flying as Lily toddled nearby, her giggles the soundtrack to reconnection. Javier delighted her with finger paints, becoming Uncle Javi in heartbeats. The family absorbed him gradually, like a river welcoming a tributary. Raúl's protective instincts flaring at first, grilling Javier on intentions before clapping him on the back. Alex offering a partnership in the shop, eyes gleaming at Javier's mechanical sketches, but drama brewed on the horizon like thunderheads. Javier's mother, bitter and hardened by years of single struggle, filed a lawsuit for paternity fraud, claiming Carlos owed back support and emotional damages, dragging us into court battles that drained souls and savings. Endless lawyers in pinstripes, depositions under fluorescent glare where old wounds reopened. He owed us a life, not abandonment. She raged in the hallway, voice venomous, her eyes flashing unresolved fury. Betrayal felt fresh and stinging, layers peeling back endlessly. Carlos, from his prison cell, sent a scrawled letter. My sins echo through generations. Forgive what I can't fix. Loneliness enveloped the legal hell. Jake's tours canceled indefinitely for courtroom support, our savings dwindling as I rocked Lily through nights of worry. Regrets clawed upward. Why keep digging? Haven't we unearthed enough graves? But Javier's unwavering loyalty shone like a beacon. We're blood now, Ellie. We face this together, he'd say, sketching our blended faces in solidarity. Climax unfolded in the tense courtroom, oak benches creaking under familial weight, testimonies raw and unfiltered. Mom recounting her stillborn grief with choking sobs, Maria detailing her sacrificial switch with quiet dignity. My own identity quest laid bare in halting words to the judge's impassive gaze. Evidence mounted, DNA proofs, old letters, financial trails. The judge ruled a fair monetary share, but urged mediation for hearts. In a side room, amid tissues and mediators, Javier's mother softened, sharing her isolation. I raised him alone, raging at ghosts. Resolution bloomed unexpectedly. Shared visitation agreements, tentative coffees evolving into alliances, old wounds cauterized by mutual understanding. Lessons etched deep. Blood may connect unexpectedly, but chosen bonds, forged in fire, bind eternally stronger, weaving disparate threads into resilient fabric. Lily's infectious laughter echoed through our reunions, a symphony of unity, as Javier taught her to mix colors. Yet, as these bonds grew lush and intertwined, Jake confessed doubts over late-night wine, his guitar idle. The tour calls again, missed gigs piling up, dreams fading. Strain tested our marriage like never before. Arguments flaring over dinner plates. You're choosing career over us, I'd accuse, voice breaking. I need this piece of me, he'd retort. Counseling sessions delved into balance, therapist probing. Trauma bred control in you, Ellie. Let dreams breathe. He recommitted, channeling frustrations into composing tender lullabies for Lily, melodies that soothed our home. The emotional punch landed with a positive test. Another pregnancy, a boy en route, heartbeat strong on the scan. Cycles of pain breaking at last? Or new secrets gestating in the wings, waiting to birth fresh drama?
The second pregnancy amplified every joy and fear into vivid highs and lows. Ultrasounds became family events, cheers erupting around the screen as the technician pointed out tiny toes in a determined heartbeat. Cravings hit hard, satisfied by Maria's soul-warming cooking sessions, her kitchen alive with sizzling chorizo and stories of old recipes passed down. We named the boy Carlos Alex in utero, honoring redemption's arc and fraternal bonds, whispers of hope amid the scans. But betrayal struck viciously via a hacker's breach. Our addresses leaked from the DNA site's database, exposed in dark web forums. Stalkers emerged from anonymity, creepy cars idling outside, media hounds pounding doors for updates on the Switch saga. We moved yet again to a fortified suburb home, security systems beeping constantly. Loneliness peaked in postpartum haze with toddler Lily's chaos, sleepless nights blending into days of vigilance. Jake's frustration boiled over. I need music, Ellie. It's suffocating me here. Bites escalated into tempests. You're abandoning us for spotlights. I'd cry, hormones and history fueling the fire. Therapy revelations cut deep. My iron control stemmed from past traumas, a desperate grasp for stability. We learned to release, to trust. Drama ignited when an ex-gang thug cornered Raul at the shop. Carlos's debts unpaid, time to collect with interest. A brutal brawl ensued, fists flying amid tools and tires, ending in arrests and hospital stitches for all. Family rallied fiercely. Lawyers marshaled, security firms hired, potlucks turning into strategy sessions. Climax erupted in a heart-pounding standoff at the auto shop, thugs crew surrounding with bats, police raid lights piercing the night, sirens wailing as shots cracked air. Safety rested in chaos, but emotional scars ran deep. Raul's arm in sling. Our trust shattered anew. Resolution forged in fire. We launched a community fund for gang exit programs, turning personal pain into aid for others. Fundraisers drawing crowds with our stories pull. Javier's art exhibit premiered our saga in haunting paintings, switched cradles, fractured mirrors, drawing empathetic throngs, healing publicly as applause thundered. As the baby boy's cries filled our home, I reflected on the symphony from switch to survival. Regrets transmuted to resilience, betrayals to bridges. But an innocuous letter slipped through mail. The nurse lied. There was another switch involved? My heart plummeted. More unraveling on the horizon, or a final phantom? Investigating the nurse's alleged lie consumed weeks of frantic energy. A whirlwind of phone calls to old contacts, dusty hospital records culled from archives, smelling of mildew and forgotten scandals, and private investigators sifting through faded documents under harsh desk lamps. The wild claim from a dying accomplice, a former hospital aide on her deathbed, whispering confessions through oxygen masks, suggested twins had been switched, or worse, that my stillborn sister Lily had miraculously lived, hidden away in some secret adoption ring. My hands shook as I pored over yellowed birth logs and blurred photocopies, heart hammering with a toxic mix of hope and dread. Could I have a twin out there? Another piece of the puzzle stolen by deceit? DNA tests were rushed, swabs mailed overnight, results ticking down like a bomb. The family gathered in our living room for the reveal, air thick with tension, Jake's arm around me, Lily playing obliviously with blocks. When the email chimed, negative match, no twin, the stillborn confirmed by medical certainty, relief crashed over us like a wave, but the emotional toll lingered like bruises. Exhaustive therapy marathons and cozy offices, unpacking the paranoia bred from years of layered betrayals. Enough digging, I declared finally in a family meeting, voice firm amid nods and tears. We've exhumed enough graves. Let's bury the ghosts for good. We forged a sacred family pact. No more obsessive searches, no chasing shadows, just presence in the now.
sealed with a bonfire in the backyard where we burned questionable letters, flames dancing as vows echoed. Loneliness from the investigation's isolation began to ebb through new connections, joining local mom groups at parks and coffee shops, where stroller circles and shared sippy cups fostered bonds over playdates and playgroups. Stories swapped like treasures. One mom's divorce drama, another's infertility battles. My Switch saga met with wide-eyed empathy rather than judgment. "You're a warrior," a fellow mom hugged me after hearing snippets, her words balm to scars. Jake's music career reignited with an album release party in a dimly lit venue. His hit single, Switched Hearts, a raw ballad of our journey, blasting through speakers, crowds swaying as he dedicated it to me on stage, spotlights catching tears in his eyes. Pride swelled in my chest like a rising tide, watching him shine, our love story immortalized in lyrics that healed listeners too. Drama simmered during Alex's proposal to his girlfriend Lena, a sweet graphic designer with a laugh like bells. The backyard set up under string lights, rose petals scattered, our cheers as he knelt. But family blending brought friction. Lena's conservative parents clashing with our colorful history, whispers of that switched baby scandal at rehearsal dinners. "We're not defined by past pain," Alex defended fiercely, and we rallied, toasts bridging divides. The emotional punch landed with a book deal offer from a major publisher. My memoir, Stolen Beginnings, A Life Reclaimed, greenlit after my YouTube confessions went viral, agents buzzing with excitement over raw drafts scribbled in stolen moments. Writing became catharsis. Nights at the kitchen table, baby Carlos on my lap, pouring regrets, betrayals, and redemptions onto pages. Vivid flashbacks of hospital nights and family fights. Climax built at Carlos's parole hearing, a sterile courtroom packed with supporters and opponents, my testimony the centerpiece. Standing at the podium, voice steady despite trembling knees, I detailed the destruction his absence wrought, but pleaded mercy. Prison took the man, let redemption take the ghost. I urged the board, eyes locking with his across the room, chains silent for once. Denied parole in a gavel's crack, but peace settled like dust, closure without chains. Resolution crystallized in launching a charity for switched at birth families, support hotlines and advocacy lobbying, turning private hell into public hope. Lessons burned bright. Truth doesn't just liberate, it forges weapons against silence. Resilience isn't born in calm seas, but hammered in fire's forge. As Javier sketched our growing clan, laughter filling the air, a subtle twist emerged, a faded photo from the nurse's effects, hinting at one final, buried secret. Dare we look?
Years blurred into a tapestry of growth and grace, children sprouting like weeds in fertile soil. Lily's awkward teen phases with braces and boy crushes, Carlos Alex's soccer triumphs on muddy fields, the house echoing with slams of doors and bursts of music from Jake's home studio. Regrets from the chaotic past faded to sepia tones, transmuted into cherished memories retold around campfires. That first envelope's shock now a catalyst story. Betrayals reframed as bridges to deeper love. The auto shop thrived under Alex and Raul's partnership. Grease Monkey Days blending with Javier's artistic murals on the walls. Community hub for barbecues and free tune-ups for single moms. But Betrayal's ghost resurfaced insidiously when Jake's old flame from band days, a sultry backup singer named Tara, slid into his DMs during a tour, tempting with nostalgic texts and innocent meetups. I discovered late one night, phone glowing in the dark, heart plummeting like a stone. Confrontation in our bedroom, voices hushed to not wake kids. Is this who we are now? Back to secrets? Tears streamed as he swore fidelity, deleting contacts, but trust fractured like fine china. We rebuilt stronger through date nights and counseling, vulnerability the mortar. Jake composing an apology song, acoustic and aching, played for me under stars. Drama exploded with Raul's cancer diagnosis, a gut punch scan revealing tumors in his lungs from old exposures, doctor's words blurring through sobs in the sterile office. Stage 3, the oncologist said gravely, handing pamphlets as Maria wailed. Family rallied like warriors, fundraisers with car washes and silent auctions, treatment drives hauling him to chemo sessions,
Maria's rosary beads clicking in waiting rooms. I held his hand during infusions, IV drips beeping, sharing stories of resilience. You protected me, now we protect you. Alex closed shop early for visits. Diego cooking massive pots of pozole for strength. Climax crested at the remission party in our backyard. Balloons bobbing under lanterns, Raul bald but beaming as scans declared victory, tears mixing with cheers and hugs that crushed bones. To beating the bastards, he toasted, voice hoarse but triumphant, family clinking glasses till dawn. Lessons seared deep. Cherish the now with ferocious grip. Time's thief steals silently, but love conquers even graves. Betrayals taught vigilance, but Raul's fight reminded joy's fragility. Hold tight, laugh louder. As kids grew independent, empty nest loomed like a quiet storm, Lily college-bound with acceptance letters and dorm dreams, Carlos Alex eyeing art schools like Javier. Loneliness crept in waves, house too big, echoes too loud, but grandkids promised light. Early visits with Lena's baby bump sparking nursery plans anew. A secret surfaced in Mom's early dementia, hospital stillborn lies resurfacing in her confusion. Lily's alive, I hid her, she'd murmur in care home visits, grasping my hand with faded eyes. Heartbreak twisted, Alzheimer's rewriting truths, forcing relived traumas. We documented stories on video, her lucid days treasures, therapy helping us grieve the mother fading. Climax in her rare clear moment, sunlight streaming through curtains. I'm proud of you, my real daughter. Blood or choice, you're mine. Forgiveness complete. A final punch of love amid loss. But as we navigated her decline, an old letter from the photo resurfaced, addressed to the nurse, promising deeper hospital corruption, unbury or let rest.
Mom's dementia progression carved hollows in our souls. Care home visits a ritual of patience. Her wandering stories blending real switches with hallucinations. The baby cried in the next room, gripping my arm with surprising strength. Family rotations ensured constant presence. Maria sharing vigil duties, their unlikely bond a testament to time's alchemy. Loneliness deepened in the big house, Jake and I rediscovering each other through empty nest dates. Dancing in the kitchen to old records, road trips tracing our lake memories. Regrets whispered, time stolen by dramas. But gratitude bloomed for battles won. Kids thrived. Lily's college activism echoing my debates. Carlos, Alex's murals adorning cafes. Pride a warm constant. Drama brewed with the old letters' contents, decoded by a historian friend. Evidence of a hospital ring switching multiple babies for profit. The nurse a pawn. Temptation to expose warred with exhaustion. We've healed, Jake urged. But advocacy fire reignited. I testified anonymously at hearings, voice modulated, pushing reforms. Climax, scandal broke nationally. Hospitals audited, our charity vindicated with grants. Betrayals web unraveled, justice bittersweet. Raul mentored grandkids in shopways, cancer a badge. Alex's family grew, blended weddings joyous. Lessons. Aging strips illusions. Love endures fog. As Mom slipped further, a lucid letter she penned. Forgive my lies, they were love's armor. Punch. Her peaceful passing, funeral uniting generations. But DNA curiosity from grandkid kits revealed. A cousin from Maria's side? More branches calling? The aunt's arrival brought wary warmth. Tea sessions revealing gang escape tales. Gifts for grandkids. Integration tentative, but her stories filled heritage gaps. Jake's music soared. Tours with family cameos. Drama. Cyberstalker from old blog, threats reignited. Climax, FBI trace, arrest. Peace restored. Empty nest filled with grandkids' chaos. Stories told transparently. Regrets? Unspoken pains past? No, truth cycles broken. Family reunion climax. Truths toasted under stars. No secrets.
Lessons? Expansion heals, chosen blood strongest.
Reflecting now, scars are badges of battles won. The hook's envelope, a divine spark igniting truth's blaze. From Switch's abyss to symphony of souls, regrets forged resilience. Betrayals birth unbreakable bonds. Lessons eternal, embrace chaos's teacher. Family chosen in fire's forge, not birth's dictate. Secrets erode, honesty builds empires of heart. To you watching, tears or triumphs, speak your truths.